What is acceleration? We have already defined average velocity and instantaneous velocity. How fastly the position of the object is changing with respect to time and in what direction it is changing, it can be described with average velocity. Now, the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, it is describing acceleration. So the acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. Means how the velocity is changing with respect to time. From the Galileo time, there was one question. When we take an object, when it is moving from A to B, assume it is moving in a straight line. Now, the velocity is changing. The velocity might not be constant from A to B. But how to describe this change of velocity? Whether we have to describe this change with respect to distance or with respect to time. Then, at that time, Galileo, he considered some freely falling objects. He has taken the freely falling objects which are freely falling on the inclined plane. With his experiments, he came to know for one conclusion that when a freely falling body is falling from some height, from A maybe to Earth B, at that time, the rate of change of velocity of that object remains constant, irrespective of whether that object is falling from the first floor or from the 10th floor or from the aeroplane. The freely falling object's rate of change of velocity is remaining constant with respect to time. But when we take the freely falling object's rate of change of velocity with respect to distance, whenever the distance is increasing, the rate of change of velocity is decreasing. Whereas when we take the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, for the freely falling object, it remains constant irrespective of all these cases. So now we are defining what is average velocity. What is average velocity? Just now we have discussed. Average velocity is nothing but how fastly the position of the object is changing with respect to time and with what direction it is changing. Now, what is average acceleration? Average acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with respect to a particular time interval. Here we have taken the rate of change of velocity v2 minus v1, where v2 is the instantaneous velocity at a particular point and v1 is the instantaneous velocity at a particular point, and t2 and t1, they are the time. We are giving t2 minus t1 the time interval. Finally, we are getting the ratio of del v by del t, which is nothing but the ratio of the change in velocity to the change in time. It is average acceleration. The unit is meter per second square. Now, what is instantaneous acceleration? Instantaneous acceleration is nothing but we have discussed the instantaneous velocity. In the similar lines, we are describing instantaneous acceleration. What is instantaneous velocity? At a particular moment of time, how fastly the position of the object is changing. And it similarly, we are describing at a particular moment of time, how the rate of change of velocity is changing. That can be described with the instantaneous acceleration. That is limit del t tends to 0, del v by del t, which is nothing but derivative of v by derivative of t.